Coming back to Texas for a moment, let's get your view here. And I know you guys are working on this, but talk about how you guys are going to grow your presence and production base in Texas here. I mean, you have a very nice baseline. Expand a little bit more on what you said earlier. What's the plan with Texas here?
If anybody's followed enCore for a while, we have what's a large what we call database, and I've brought in some experienced, a couple of experienced geologists to help out with the planning and acquisition approach. So we are actively leasing properties now, and mineral interest within areas that have known resources. And it doesn't take much. There's no real need to go out and do any greenfield exploration. Back in the 70s and 80s, there was tremendous amounts of exploration that was done in South Texas because it was seen as the upside for some of these companies, whether it's Conoco or Exxon or any of those. What we've been able to do is acquire the data and information on those properties, and right now we're in the process of exploiting that database, focusing on a couple of targets right now that have known resources on them, and establishing those as future production and getting those into the licensed capacity of Rosita, as well as we're looking at other projects to expand that out, that resource base that would feed Rosita. So we've got a strategy. The only challenge is keeping us from executing faster on it is bandwidth. And when I say bandwidth, it's just that I've got to be judicious on how many people we bring, hire, et cetera. So I'm trying to manage the bandwidth of our people to be able to keep assessing properties. But I'd say we're very active on that, and it's getting pretty exciting. We've had some successes, I would say, and I can't go into the details, obviously, because they're private transactions, but I can say we've been successful, and it's exciting, and it helps firm up what I believe is our strategy going forward. And I do see future opportunities as well for bigger targets. That's the one thing that but we got to start little to get the production feed coming in for Rosita, so we can establish out of cash flow to do the other acquisitions rather than or at least have the ability to support any financing through revenue to be able to support expansion to further projects, because I think there's a whole lot of opportunity there. A lot of people don't realize is that Texas did historically produced over 80 million pounds of uranium, and a lot of that, about half of that's through in situ recovery. And then on top of that, there's just a tremendous amount of opportunities. USGS has done some wonderful work on assessing, looking at all historic data and the historic Muri data, and there's just a tremendous amount of resources down there that provide a lot of upside and opportunity. And I'm not talking blue sky, I'm talking about near term. It's near term opportunities, and we're working on that right now. Like I said, it's pretty exciting for me. We get good news every week that we're on track, and I think that's an opportunity. Now, like I said, it's going to take a lot of work to build the critical mass to make this a long-term. When I say long-term, a big enough resource base to where we could very likely operate both Kingsville and Rosita. That's simultaneously, but that's what we're working on.